Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, I've shown you how to download the project from a Spring Initializer and how we have developed the API, that is the Signup API. So if you haven't watched that video, then just go to description there. I put the link to my previous video. Or if you are watching the video after a while, then you will find all videos link related to this project in the description of this video. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to implement the JWT token on our project. What JWT is, it's a JSON web token. What it does, whenever someone hit our API, then it's actually check that if that user is a valid user or not. How this one is validated, that whenever the user log in for the first time, then after checking in the database if that username and password exist in our database, then what we will do is we will give that user a valid token. When user get the token, from the next time whenever that particular user hit our API, then they also need to pass that JWT token with that API. Then we validate that token and then we can let user access our stuff. Okay, so let's start with the implementing. So first thing, what we are going to do is we are going to create some classes in this JWT. Okay, so after that we will going to see how we are going to bypass that JWT, because for the login and sign up we don't need to check the token because that's a new user. Whenever new user will come, they can directly access our login and sign up API. So first I'm going to collapse these because I don't need these for now. Okay, let me just minimize this a little bit. Inside this JWT folder, which we have created previously, so I'm going to right click on this, create a new and create a Java class. And I'm going to name this one JWT util class, because inside this one, I'm going to put all the utility methods. Okay, so first thing what we have to do is we have to put one annotation over here, that is service, so that it will understand that we are going to write some logic over here. Okay, and before we do anything else inside this one, what we have to do is we need to add few dependencies in our project for the JWT, for Spring security. For these we need to add some dependencies. For that, what we have to do is we have to open the pom.xml, and here previously while downloading the project we have actually added few dependencies, that is JPA dependency, JDBC, starter web, because this is a web application. This is a MySQL connector chart, Java. So we have added the Lambok also, and this is by default. Okay, so now I'm going to add few more dependency over here. So I have dependency list in my notepad open. So till here all the dependencies are there. So from here I'm going to add it. I will explain it in a while what these dependencies are. So let me just move back over here. I'm going to paste it and just save it. And here we will see a Maven logo. You have to just click on this, and here you will see this. It's resolving the dependency. What it's doing is it's actually downloading the Maven dependency from the central repository. Here you can see this now. Downloading is done. Now we can use this dependency. So let me start explaining few of the stuff about these dependencies. So this is a iText PDF. This is required in order to work with the PDF, like generating and downloading the PDF. So we have this feature to download the PDF. If you have seen the quick overview, then you must have observed that we have download bill feature. This is also for the same PDF box, and this is Groova. We have used some dependencies in order to work like a string validation. Then I need to check for the null and not empty. Then I use these stuff, some of these methods from this one. Okay, next thing, this is JSON. We have to work with the JSON also in this project, as we have to convert the data from JSON to our model class. So this dependency is very useful. Next thing what we have is we have Google dependency over here. That is also we have to work with the JSON. If you want to read more about it, then you have to simply copy this stuff and search it on Google. We have a Spring security because we have to implement the Spring security also in our project. Spring security test, we have to implement the JWT. For sure we need this one, and this is mail, to actually send the mail over the network, because we are going to send the mail whenever there is a forget email we need to send, or whenever new bill is generated we want to send a mail. For multiple purpose you can send mail. So I'm going to show you how we are going to integrate these all stuff. Now dependencies is added. What I will do is I will put these all in a text file, all the dependencies, and I will put that link in the description of this video. Okay, so let's start with that, and I'm going to show you how exactly you can search this one. These dependency, if you are watching after a while, then you must need to download some of the latest version of this dependency. I'm going to show you how to search these. Okay, so I'm going to open the Chrome, and before opening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. You have to just copy this much part and move back over here and paste it, and you have to search Maven dependency, just like this, and you will find this. Just click on this one, and here we go. If you have some latest dependency, you have to just click on this and you can download this dependency. So this is 2.8.9. So if I move back over here, mine is 2.8.9. That's the latest version. In the same way you can do for the remaining. Okay, so let me close this. Okay, so now the dependency part is done. Let me just close this form, and we have actually reloaded it. If you're using any other IDE, then you can actually there are different ways to reload it, download the dependency, so you can check it out in Google. Okay, so here the first thing what we have to do is we have to define a secret key. On the basis of that secret key, our JSON web token is generated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write one variable that is of private, and it's of a string, and I'm going to name this one secret. You can name anything as per your requirement, and you need to keep this key little bit complex. Not little bit, it's highly complex, hexadecimal, anything you like. It needs to be a combination of uppercase, lowercase, number, alphanumeric, everything. Okay, so I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to name this one btechdays. After that, what we have to do is these method, whatever method I'm using or whatever method I'm writing over here, these methods are going to used in order to extract the data from the JSON to create the JSON. These type of stuff, to do these type of stuff, we need these methods. Okay, so first method what I'm going to write over here is that is extract claim. So public, and this will accept a type T, and so T, and I'm going to name this one extract claims. Okay, and this will accept string, and it will accept token function, and first will be claims, and second will be T, and I'm going to name this one claims resolver. Okay, this is the method. Inside this one we will create one final variable, that is final claims. Here you must observe that this is from IO JSON web token, that dependency which we have added. Okay, so inside this one I'm going to name this variable. It is of claim type, and the variable name is also claims, and I'm going to use one method that is extract claim from this one, not this one. What we need to do is we need to write one more method, that is public, and this will return claims, and this method is nothing but extract all claims. And we will accept the token, and inside this one we are going to return JWTS. Here you can see this is the first one, dot parser dot, we have to set signature key. Inside this one we have to set this, pass this secret, this one. If someone tampered with the JWT token, then the secret key is changed automatically. So it will throw an exception whenever the secret key is changed. So that's why we always check the secret key. So dot parse claims JWS, and here we have to pass the token dot get body. So this will return the claims from the token. So extract all claims, and inside this one we have to pass the token, and now we have the claims. So we have to return claims resolver dot apply. Inside this one we have to pass the claims. Here you can see this. Now to extract this claim, we have passed this token and claims resolver. Okay, so we need to write few more methods. First, I want to extract the expiration and also extract the username from this token. So for that, I'm going to write one more method, that is public string, and I'm going to name this one extract username from the token. So string, and this is a token, and here we have to just return extract claims. Inside this one we have to pass token, and second, what we have to extract it from it. So claim and the colons and get subject. So we're going to set the name, the username, and the key will be the subject. So that's why get subject. Okay, so next thing what we have is we have to extract the expiration time also. So public date and extract expiration, and it will be of type string, and this will be token, and we need to press alt and enter as showing. So I'm going to use this java.util. So alt enter and return, and the same way we have to use this extract claims, and inside this one we have to pass the token, and second, the same way claims colon colon get expiration, like this. Next thing, we need to write few more methods to check that if the token is expired, or to generate the token and create the token, validate token. These methods we need. So I'm going to write all of these methods. Okay, so we are going to write one method in order to check that if the token, our token, which user has provided is expired or not. For that, what we have to do is, we have already written one method over here to extract the expiration, that is the expiry time of the token. So we have to compare that expiry time for now. If now the time is 23, then if the expiration time is 21, then it's already expired if we compare it to the now. So what exactly what we are going to do it right now. So we have to write this private, and it will be of type boolean because we are going to use it internally. So boolean is token expired string, and I'm going to name this one token, and here we have to check return, and first thing we have to extract the expiration which we have already written it over here, that is extract expiration, and inside this one we have to pass the token, so it will return a date, and we have to compare, that is before, and we have to pass simply new date. Okay, so if this one is valid, then it will return true. So we are going to use this method to check if that token is expired whenever we are validating the token. Okay, so to validate the token, we again have to write one method, that is public and type boolean. Inside this one, this is a method validate token. So in the token we have two stuff, that is the expiry time and the username. So we have to match these two stuff. So inside this one, this is a token, and the second thing is user details and user details, like this. And here we will extract the username first. So string username is equal to extract username from the token, so we will pass the token. Now we have the token. Next thing, we have return, and we have to check for two stuff. First thing is username dot equals user detail dot get username, and second thing is not is token expired, and we have to pass the token. So these two stuff we have to do. That is, first we have to check if the username is valid, and the second is token is expired. If these two conditions satisfy, then the token is valid, then we can just move and use our API. Okay, next thing what we have is we have two more stuff to actually, first thing is to generate the token, and to generate the token we have to put role, whatever role you want to put, you can put it over there, and we have to use a JWT default methods in order to create the token with the help of the secret key. Okay, so first I will write one private method, that is private, and it will return a string, and I'm going to name this one create token, and this is of, it will accept two argument, that is map of string comma object, and this is claims, and second is a string subject. Okay, so I'm going to return a JWTS dot builder and dot set claims. I'm going to set the claims. Inside this one we have to pass the claim dot set subject, that is a username. Subject, you can change this name as per your requirement, but for now this is subject. Okay, so you can change it to username as well. So next thing we have to set the issued at, that's the current time, so new date and system dot current time milliseconds, like this one. After this we have to set the expiration time, so expiration new date system dot current milliseconds, and after this you have to add some values. If you want to expire this token in 2 hours, 20 hours, you have to just calculate it that way. So plus 1000 milliseconds into 60 into 10. This is a calculation for the 10 hour. So when you do this, this token will be expired in 10 hours. You can check it also. Okay, after this what we have to do is we have to set the signature. So sign with, and we have to pass the signature. So signature algorithm, and I'm going to use this HS256 encryption, and I'm going to pass the secret key whatever we have. And finally we have to generate the token. For that we have to write compact. So now our token will be generated with the help of this, and inside this one we have to simply pass the claims and the subject, but here we don't have written any method to do so. Okay, so you can change this time as you already understand this. So I'm going to write one more method which is going to pass the values inside this one. So public, and this will return a string, and generate token string, this is username, and string role. And here I'm going to generate one map of a string comma object type claims, and is equal to new hash map, like this. After this, in the claims I'm going to put the role, so claims and claims dot put, and inside this one I'm going to put the role. So role, the key will be role and the value will be role, whatever the passed from the user. Okay, next thing what we have to do is we have to generate this token. So to generate the token, I'm going to call this method that is create token. Inside this one we have to pass the claims, and second we have to pass the username. So username, as I have told you that this subject is actually username, I'm setting it in the key of subject, that's why I kept it as it is. Okay, so next thing, here you can see this is throwing an error because this method is expecting to return a type of value string, and for now we are not returning anything. So while I'm calling this, it's returning a string type. So what we have to do is we have to simply type it return over here. So now everything is resolved inside this one. So we have written all the methods, utility methods, which are required in order to work with the JWT, like extract username from the token, extract expiration, extract claims from the token, extract all claims from the token. Is token is expired, to generate token, and internally I'm using this create token inside this one. And how to set the claims into this one. If you want to put multiple claims, then you can put the claims. I'm going to show you how to actually extract the claims from it, how to work with that, everything I'm going to show you. Okay, so now the task is done for this JWT utils classes, and make sure this string that @service annotation is over here. So if you now the task for this class is done. Next thing what we have to do is we have to move inside this project and inside this JWT folder, and here we have to right click on this, select new and select class. And here I'm going to create a new class with the name security config. Inside this one we have to actually implement the Spring security with the JWT token. So I'm going to write this security config and hit enter. After this, first thing what we have to do is we have to put some annotation over here in order to work with it. So first thing is configuration. It will create a bean whenever the project is started automatically. After this, I'm going to enable the web security. So enable web security. So make sure you have added the web security dependency in the pom.xml. Then you can use this over here, these annotation over here. So let me just collapse this. After this, I'm going to implement the Spring security over here. So web security config adapter, and inside this one it will actually show the error like this. Okay, so next thing, configure adapter it's actually. So next thing what we have to do is we have to override some method. So for that, alt and insert, and here you will see this override methods. Inside this one I have to override one method, that is configure, and which will accept this one, the first one, that is the auth authentication manager. So if I hit enter, and here you can see this, now this one here we don't need this, just remove this, and this method is overridden. Next thing what we need is inside this configurer, it actually expect one customer user details service class, the bean of that. So auth dot user details service, inside this one it needs one bean of type customer user details. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one class with the name customer users details service, and it will be customer user details service like this, and I'm going to auto wire it. It's not present right now, that's why it's showing an error. So I have just written it over here in order to pass it inside this one. Okay, so it's showing an error because we have to extend, this is a class, so we are trying to implement a class. So what we have to do is we have to extend it, and here you can see this, now the error is resolved over here. Next thing what we have to do is we have to create a class with this name. So I'm going to right click on this and click on new Java class, and I'm going to name this one customer users details service, and hit enter. This will create one class over here. Inside this one what we have to do is we have to implement few stuff. We have to again override one method, that is just move alt and insert override method, and sorry, this one will actually implement one interface, that is user details service, and here you can see this, now it's showing an error. So implement method, and we have one use method over here, that is load user by username. Here we have to auto wire one stuff, that is our DAO. So auto wire user detail user DAO, and this is user DAO. If I move back inside this one, user DAO, we already have created this interface in the previous video, so make sure to watch that video. So extend JP repository, and we inside this one we have to pass the model or the Pujo, whatever you say, and this is a PK type. So we have already written one named query to find by email ID. So if I move back inside this one, if I move back on the top, and here you can see this find by email ID, and here we have the select you from user you, where u.email ID is this one. So this will work fine, as we have already tested it in our previous video. So I'm going to use it over here. So first thing what we have to do is I'm going to declare one variable of type private, and it will be of user type. So com cafe com in dot cafe dot pojo, and it will be of user type, so user detail. So why I have written this like this one, specifying the specified path for this class, because this user class is already available in the Spring Security also. So that's why I'm specifying that I'm creating a bean of this user, which is of type this one. Okay, so if we're going to use this variable inside this one, that's why I have imported it. So let me just collapse this, just remove this one, and here what we are going to do is user details, not this one, user details, and I'm going to keep the value over here. So user DAO dot find by email ID, and inside this one we have to pass the username. So inside the username we are going to actually pass the email ID. So either you can write like this or you can write like this. That doesn't make any change because it's just a variable. Okay, so I'm going to keep it username, and first I'm going to check that if this user detail is null or not. So if we pass the username, that is the email ID, and if user exists with that email ID, then the complete data will be fetched and stored inside this one. It means that the user already exists in our database. Okay, so if not, then this object will be null. So not objects dot is null. Inside this one we have to pass this user details like this. And if this is the case, then I want to return new user. This is of type Spring Security. This is not our Pojo type, if you make sure this. So if I press Ctrl and space bar, here you can see this ORG Spring Framework Security and Core User Details. So I have just selected this, and so this one we have to pass the username and the password. So user name, user detail dot get email, and second thing we have to pass user detail dot get password, and third thing is role. So we haven't set any role from the database, so I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use extract it from the JSON web token, and I'm going to use it. Okay, so add a list, and we have to pass it. That's it. And in the else condition we want to throw the exception. So throw, and here you can see this by default this throws user not found exception is over here, so I'm going to use it. So throw new user not found exception over here. So I'm going to write this user not found, just save it. Next thing we are going to write one more method that is going to return this complete user detail if we need in any case. So public, and this is going to return com in cafe pojo, and use this type of user. So get user detail, I'm going to name this one, and this is simply going to return user details like this. Now the task till over here inside this one is done, and inside this one also we have to actually add the service annotation over here. And if you want to add any of the logger over here, like I'm inside this load user by name, like log.info, something like this, then you can simply put at the rate slf4j, that is the Lambok dependency. If I write over there here that's slf4j, then here you can see this, now the error is resolved, and you can simply write the log inside this one. So inside like this one, if you want to print the username also, so you can simply print the username like this, and you can, if you press the Ctrl Alt L key, it will format automatically all of the stuff in your class, and here you can see this. Okay, next thing what we have to do is we have to move back to the Spring Security config, the security config inside this one, and here you can see this, now the error is resolved. Next thing what we have to do is we are going to use the methods from the this one, JWT util, and we have other stuff also. So inside this one, what we have to do is, next thing we have to override one more stuff, that is the configure, which will accept HTTP. Okay, so before that, what we have to do is we have to actually create a bean of password encoder, because we are not using the password encoder in this one. So I'm going to use this password encoder and password encoder, and it will create a bean of return no op password encoder, not this one, the first one, dot get instance. This is not recommended, but for the learning purpose I'm doing this. In the further videos I will encrypt the password. Okay, so just type the bean over here, and if you don't do this, it will throw errors while we are executing the program. Next thing, we need authentication manager bean also. For that, just alt and insert and just override one method, that is authentication manager bean, this one. And you can see this throws exception, return super authentication manager, and here on the top of this we have to simply declare this bean, and the name of this will be bean IDs dot authentication manager, like this. Now the task is done. Next thing what we have to do is we have to override one method, that is a configure method. So alt insert and override one method, that is configure, and inside this one we have to override this one, that will accept HTTP security. Just double click on this, and here you can see this, now HTTP security is over here. Next thing, this is a void type, so for now I don't need this. I'm going to remove this. First thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable this HTTP chorus stuff, and the CSRF I'm going to disable it. So first thing, I'm going to write this HTTP course dot configuration source, and inside this one I'm going to pass this request new chorus configuration dot apply permit default values, and after this I'm going to disable the CSRF, cross-site forgery, cross-site request forgery, something like this. So I'm going to disable it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass the login and sign up API, as I have told you earlier. So any matches, sorry, inside this one we have to pass the URLs which you want to bypass without validating the token. So I'm going to pass this one, so user/login. Okay, so if I move back to this one, and if we see the rest, there is a user rest. So for the sign up, we have user/sign up. So if I move back inside this one, so /user/login, we have bypassed it. Next thing, we have to bypass the sign up also. So /user/sign up, and we also have to bypass one more API which is not currently in our system for now, but we are going to add it. So I'm going to write it over here. So user/forgot password, we're going to add it also. So user/forgot password, like this one. Okay, so these three APIs will be bypassed. We don't need to, we will not do the token validation over here on these two. And I'm going to write simply permit okay, we have some error over here, let me just check it. Okay, sorry, it's ant matcher, we have to put S over here, that is ant matchers. And next thing, we have to let me just change it. Just click on this. Okay, so we missed one small stuff over here. So just we have to post this authorize request dot and matches, and here you can see this. Now the error is gone. So next thing what we have to do is we have to permit these all. So permit all, and next thing, if any request accept these, then dot any request, then dot authenticate dot and dot exceptional handling dot and we want session management like this one dot session create policy, and we have to pass the stateless. So session configuration policy, and here we have multiple. You can read it a bit about on the Google, and you can use it as per your requirement. So I'm going to use this stateless and just close this. Okay, so we are done with this one. So first we have created the chorus over here, implemented the chorus, then disable the CSRF, then we have implemented the ANT matches. So if the URL came, if anyone hit our this one, this API, this or this one, then we have to simply bypass it. For that we have written it over here that permit all these APIs. If any other request apart from these three, then we have to authenticate and exception, and also we have to do the exception handling and the session management also. So we have to also implement, after this what we have to do is we have to actually add the filter to this one. So where we have to actually filter the token and other stuff. So for that, so for that we have to create one more class that is of JWT filter type. Inside that one we are going to pass the filter object over here inside this one, that is the http dot add filter, and I have to pass this before. Inside this one, if you see, it's expecting one servlet request, not this one. It's expecting one filter of type JWT, and it's like, let me just simply pass this filter. Here you can see this when I write double quotes, it's the name written over here is filter. Inside this one we have to pass the user name password authentication filter dot class. So we have to pass this value. So here you can see this, now it's throwing an error. Okay, required filter but provided string. Okay, so we are going to resolve this in a while when we are going to create one new filter class. So if I move back over here to the project, and here we are going to create one more class. So right click on this and create a class that is of JWT filter, hit enter, and it will create one class. Extends once per request filter, and so this one we have to put the annotation that is component, and so this one we have to override one method that is not override. We have to just click on this one, implement method, and do filter internals. And here you can see this, now the error is solved. Now what we have to do is we have to just move back over here, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bean of type this filter. So like this one, JWT filter, and we have to simply pass this JWT filter object over here. So JWT filter, and the issue is gone. Now the task till here is done. Next thing what we have to do is we have to move inside this one, and here we will observe that we have one HTTP server request, and we have response and the filter chain, and it throws server exception and IO exception. So next thing, the token validation and other stuff will be done over here, and also we will play some more with these. Okay, so first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to need the JWT filter over here. So I'm going to create the auto wire, create the object with the help of this auto wire. So private JWT util and JWT util. Next thing we need one more stuff, just auto wire it. So private, and I'm going to name this one customer user details service, and we need this one, so I'm going to name this one service over here. Next thing, we have to move inside this one. So first thing what we have to do is we have to bypass few stuff, that is the user login API, forget password, and user sign up API. So first thing we will check for those. So if http servlet request, so I'm going to change this one to http servlet request, the more familiar name, and this is http servlet response like this, and the last one is filter chain. Now we are good. So http servlet request dot get servlet path, and set this one dot, we have to matches, if matches with any of these, so double quotes, and set this one we have to check for the user slash login, and the second thing is pipe, and we have to check for the another stuff, that is user slash forget password, and the third one is we have to check for another, okay, sorry, we don't need to put these over here like this, we have to simply use like this, so slash user slash sign up like this. If this is the case, then what we have to do is we have to simply type filter chain dot do filter, and set this one we have to simply pass this http servlet request and http servlet response. It means that we have to just let it go into this one, and we have to pass the response also. If this is not the case, then what we have to do is we have to do the filtration, like validating that if that one is a valid user or not, and every other stuff. So I'm going to write one creating two variables, that is of type claims. So I'm going to name this one claims, and for now I'm going to assign it with null. And the second one is the username, so private and string user name is equal to null for now. We're going to extract these values from the token, and we're going to assign it over here so that we can use it in the another classes also. I'm going to write one method to get role, get username, like these. Okay, so if this is the case, then we want to bypass it. Simply no token validation is required. If not, then what we have to do, so first I'm going to extract the authorization headers. So I'm going to name this one authorization header is equal to http servlet request dot get header. Inside this one we have to pass the header. The header name will be authorization, and after this what we have to do is string token and is equal to null. And first thing, in the authorization header we have to check that if it contains bearer, because if you have read a small stuff about the JWT token, you must have observed that in the starting of the JWT token, bearer is by default concatenated. So I will check that if it contains a bearer. So if authorization header is not equal to null, first thing, and the second thing is authorization header dot starts with, that is PEA RER and space, that is a total of 7 characters, including these 6 bearer and 1 is a space. If this is the case, then what we have to do is we have to extract the token. So token is equal to authorization header dot substring, by extracting this bearer from the token. So how much character from the star you want to just remove the 7 characters. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Okay, after this what we have to do is we have to extract the username. So username is equal to JWT utils dot extract username. So we have to pass the token inside this one. So in the JWT class, if I open it over here, JWT utils, we have actually auto wired it over here. And if I go inside this one, this is the JWT utils. Inside this one we have the method that is extract username. We have JWT extract all claims inside this one. So we can use these methods. I've already explained what are these. If you have any doubt, then just comment in the comment section and I will let you know what exactly that is. Okay. So if I move back into this one where we are working, that is JWT filter, and set this one, we have used this extract username. It will extract username and put inside this one, this variables. Okay. Next thing, we have to extract the claim. So claims is equal to JWT utils dot extract all claims, and we have to pass the token inside this one. Okay, so now the task here is done. Next thing what we have to do is we have extracted the values. We have to check for the valid values. So if username is not equal to null, press serial alt L key to format everything. Next thing what we have to do is we have to check for the session also. So security context holder dot get context dot get authorization is equal to null. Then what we have to do is we have to extract the username from the database first. So user details is equal to, and we have service over here. So if I move back over here, you can see this customer user details service, and here we have to load the user, load user by username, and inside this one we have to pass the username. This username is which we have extracted from the token. So here we have this. Next thing what we have to do is if JWT utils dot validate token, we will validate it for the expiration time and the username also. So token, and we have to pass the user details inside this one. If I move back to this JWT util, if press the serial key and just click on this, and here you can see this, we have to, it's expecting one token and user detail type of object. So we have already extracted the name from the token, and if it matches and the token is not expired, then we can move further. So if this one is valid, then what we have to do is we have to move inside this one, and username password authentication token, this one, and we have to name this like this one, is equal to, I'm going to change the line so that you can see everything. So new user detail password token, and inside this one we have to pass the user details comma null, and third stuff is user details dot get authorizations like this. Next thing, we need user password authentication token dot set details new web authentication detail source, the second one, dot build details. Inside this one we have to pass the HTTP servlet request, and we have to simply close this. Now this is already closed. Next thing, we have to check for one more stuff, that is security context holder dot get context dot set authentication, and so this one we have to pass this user password authentication token. Okay, so now the task is done. After this validation is done, next thing what we have to do is we have to simply bypass it through our service. So we have to simply copy this part over here and move back over here. After these two curly braces, we have to simply paste it. Now the validation and everything is done, everything is valid. So after this we have to filter chain dot do filter, and we have to let user pass and access our API and get response. Okay, so now the validation is done. Next thing what we have to do is we have to move back over here, and I'm going to write few more methods to check if the user is admin or is user, or to get the current username. So I'm going to write this public, and it will return boolean, and I'm going to write this admin, So return, I'm going to write this admin dot equals ignore case, and I'm going to pass this one as convert this one as a string, and claims dot get, and I'm going to get the role. So okay, so we have written it on the wrong place. So just cut this part, and we have to write it outside of this method. Okay, now this is good. Next thing what we have to do is just copy this part and paste it over here, and just change this one to is user. We are going to use this in our application, so change this one to user. Okay, and next thing, to get the username, so we have to write one method that is public, and it's going to return string get current user, like this, and this is going to return the username which is extracted from the token itself. So these are the method which we are going to use. Now I'm going to start the application, and let's see if everything is working fine or not. So I have started the application, and here you can see this, it's building. If any exception is thrown, it will shown in the console right away. So I've started it, and here you can see this, we have got no exception, so everything is good. So you can see this Tomcat started at port 8081, and everything is up and running till now. If I move back over here, and here you can see this, I have already used the cafe video, and I have shown the tables, and that is users. Select start from the users. In the last video I have inserted one value inside this one. So if I check it now, so still it's one over here. So if I move back to this postman, and here you can see this, the sign up, this is the API that is localhost 8081 users sign up. If I move back to the body, here you can see this, we have added some values over here in the last video. If I try to send it again, just send it, let me just, okay, so email already exists. This is a 400 bad request. So if I move back over here, and here you can see this, we actually moved inside this one, that is user service simple. So user service simple, why we can access this sign up API? Because we have bypassed it. If I move back inside this one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another user, that is Tom, and I'm going to just let it be. So tom.gmail.com, and the password is same, and I'm going to send it, and here you can see this sign up is successful. If I move back over here, and again I'm going to run it, and here you can see this, now we have this Tom. Now I'm going to just make a quick check over here if this our JWT token is working fine or not. So I'm going to just stop the Tomcat server. If I move back over here, and if I move back to the security config, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove this part, that is the sign up API. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut it, and I'm going to just paste it over here, just comment it and paste it. Okay, next thing, I will move back inside this filter, and what I'm going to do is again I'm going to copy this, just cut this sign up API from this place, and just comment it and paste it over here for now. Okay, next thing, I'm going to just start the server. Just click on this, and here you can see this, now our project is started on port 8081. So just click on this and just send it, and here you can see this 403 forbidden. This request was a legal request, but the server is refusing to respond to it, unlike a 401 unauthorized response. Authenticating will make no difference. So if I move back inside this one, and here you can see this, it has not let the user pass because the authentication is failed on the first place. Okay, and this authentication is failed and we haven't get any exception over here. If I move back into this one, auth, and here you can see this, we have not added any bearer token. If I add the bearer token over here, that is the old bearer token, and if I try to send it, still it's forbidden. If I move back into this one, here you can see this JWT expired at this time because I'm using a valid token with the same key but for the old time. So if I move back over here, let me just select this no auth and try resending it. Here you can see this is 403 forbidden, that we can't able to access our API. So this one is working fine. So let me just stop it and let me just revert these changes. So just serial Z key and just paste it over here. Okay, if I move back into this one and again I will do the same over here. So here you can see this, now I bypassed it. Next thing, our JWT token is completely implemented, and if you have any doubt, let me just know in the comment section. Next thing what we have to do is we have to develop one API, that is the login API. So we are going to do it right away. So for that, first thing we have to just collapse this stuff and this stuff and this one also. We are going to expand these three. So move back into this one and let me close other tabs, and here we are going to use write one another API, that is for the login one. So for that, let me just move this a little bit on the left and just scroll it like this so that we can see the classes over here. So let me just make some space, and this will be a post mapping. So whenever the user will be login, the validation needs to be done and we need to actually return a token in the response. Okay, so at the rate this will be of post mapping type, post type. So path will be /login and this will be public and response entity, and it will return a string, and this is login. And say this one, it will accept request body and required. I'm going to change this one to true. By default it's true, but it's a habit to make this one true. Okay, so I'm going to accept one map of string comma string, and this is request map like this. Now we are good to go. It's showing one related problem because we haven't implemented this login in the user REST impl. So if I move back into this one, it will show like this. So just click on this, implement method, and just click on OK, and here you can see this. Now this one is implemented. So here what we have to do is we have to simply return, just remove this and put the try and catch block, not like this, like this one, exception, and it's ex, and press Alt L to format it. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to just return user service, which we have already created and been for that is user service, and auto validate user service and user service dot login. For now it doesn't exist, that's why it's showing an issue. So request map and just do like it. In this one I'm going to just print this one. So ex.print start raise the exception, and if something goes wrong then I want to return this error, that is something went wrong and the status code is 500. I'm going to just copy this part and just paste it over here. Okay, so this is not available in this user service, that's why it's showing the error. So if I move back into this user service, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add this stuff. So just copy this and paste it over here and change the name to login like this. If I move back into this one, now the error is gone. Next thing, we have to implement this inside this one, user service simple. So just click on this and implement method and click on OK, and here you can see this. Okay, it's on the wrong place, so I'm going to just cut it and move to the bottom and just remove this part. So here for what I'm going to do is I'm going to log the stuff. So log info, and I'm going to just log it. So inside login, I'm not going to print the actual data what we have received from the user, because to print the actual username and password in the console is not a good habit. Okay, so next thing, we'll put everything inside the try and catch block. So try catch and exception ex. I'm going to log the exception. So log dot error. So this one I'm going to simply write like this, curly braces, and I'm going to print the exception like this one. And inside this one, what I'm going to do is, first thing, I'm going to authenticate the user. So authentication auth is equal to authentication manager. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to create one bean for the same. So that is authentication manager. So authentication manager, and we have to create a bean for this one. So it will be auto wired, and over here, so we have to create it over here. So we have created it, and authentication manager dot authenticate, and said this one we have to pass new user password authentication token, and said this one we have to pass a request map dot get, and we have to get the email, and request map dot get the password like this. Just put the semicolon over here. If, let's check why this one is throwing an error. So it's okay, return type is Spring Security. Yeah, this one. We need this one from the Spring Security core, Spring Framework Security core. Just hit enter, and here you can see this. Now the issue is gone. So if auth dot is authenticated, then what we have to do is we have to check for if, and we will create a bean for the customer at the rate auto wire, and this customer user detail service. So customer user detail service over here. So we have to check for if customer user detail service dot get user detail dot get status. What I'm going to check is if that user is actually authenticated or not. Authenticated means that admin has approved that user or not. So in the quick overview video, I have showed you that whenever a new user sign up, then first admin need to approve it, and after that user can actually log in and do other stuff. So at the login, I'm not going to return the token if that value that user is disabled. So that's why I've created the customer user detail bean. If I move back over here, and if I go inside this one, here we have the complete user detail, which we have fetched from the database, and we have this in the user detail, and we have created one method over here while developing it, get user detail. So it's going to return the complete object. So before returning, you can do some stuff like this. So user details and user is equal to user detail, and here we need only the checksum, right? Not the checksum actually. We don't need the password, we don't need the name, we need only the value, right? So you can do like this, user, this is not like this, like this one, and you have to write it over here like this, and you can set like this, user dot set password, because we don't need to show the passwords are null, and you can just return this user. So in this case, the user password is not exposed. So either you can do like this, or you can just simply pass all the data like this one. Okay, everything is good. So what we are doing is we have extracted the values, that is the get user detail, and from that user detail we are extracting the status dot equals ignore case, and we are going to pass it true. If this is true, it means that that user is actually approved. So if this is the case, then what I'm going to do is return new response entity of type string, and I'm going to return the token. So double quotes slash, not like this, double quotes bracket slash double quotes token, then again slash double quotes colon, like this one, slash like this, and I'm going to pass this JWT utils. So we haven't created the object for this one also, so I'm going to create an object for it. So auto wire JWT filter over here, like this one. We'll move back to this one. It's not JWT filter, let me just open it. JWT util, sorry, my bad. JWT util. If I move back over here, JWT util dot generate token, and said this one we have to pass the stuff like customer user details dot get username dot get user detail dot get email, and second thing what we need is customer user detail dot get user detail dot get role plus double quotes slash double quotes and close the curly braces, then again double quotes, like this, comma, and we have to pass the status. So HTTP status dot OK, and just close it like this. Okay, so it's showing some sort of error. Let me just check it. Just over it, required HTTP status and provided a string. So we have put somewhere the comma stuff. So generated token, and we have to put one more. We are concatenating this stuff. Okay, so let me just check it. So we have put extra this one over here. So now if I replace deleted it, and now the issue is resolved. This is the case when we have the valid authentication and the user is also approved. If this is not the case, if that user is not approved, then what do we want to do? So here, if that user is not approved, then in the else condition I want to return new response entity of type string. And if I move back over here, let me just move back into this one. So inside this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return one message. So double quotes like this one, curly braces, this one, and the message will be the key. So message slash colon double quotes like this one, plus wait for admin approval. And HTTP status dot bad request, like this. Let me just align it properly. So if I hit enter, and let me just minimize this a bit. Here you can see this. In the login stuff, what we have to do is first we got this request map, and here we have actually extracted the email and password from it, and after that, or if authentication is done, if auth dot is authenticated, then what we have to do is we have to just extract the user role from it, user status from it, and we have validated it that if this one is true, then we have to generate the token. So I have just called this method from the JWT utility, that is generate token, and this is the case. We have extracted the email from that user detail, and we have extracted the role and set it into the token. And if this is not the case, it means that this user is not true for now. So it means that this one is not approved by the user, not approved by the admin. Then we are going to return the responsive entity, that is wait for the admin approval. So let's check this. Okay, so it's showing error because in the last what we have to do is if exception is thrown, then we have to return some stuff. So this is something went wrong or bad credential. So this is bad request, and just delete it, and I'm going to type it this one. So bad like this. Now the all error is gone. Now let's start this and let's test our login API. So if we could get the token or not. So you can see this now. Okay, so now my server, Tomcat server, is started at port 8081. So now if I move back into this one, I'm going to just copy this and just move to the new and just paste it over here. Just go to post and go to body, and here what we have to select is the JSON raw and select JSON. And here we have to pass the email. So email, and second is username. Sorry, the password, colon and double quotes. Okay, so here I will pass tom@gmail.com. The password is, let me just check in the database. So password is 123456 and tom@gmail.com. So password is 123456, and now send it. Send. Okay, sorry, this is we actually hit the sign up API, that's why it's showing the invalid data, because we have checked for the keys over there. So let me just change this one to login. So if I click on this and send it, and here you can see this is a 400 bad request. Why this one is bad request? Because this user is not approved by the admin. It means that the status is false till now. Okay, so next thing what we have to do is we have to validate it. So what we have to do, we have to just change this one to true. Okay, so if I move back over here for all of these, this is false, so I'm going to make one for true. Okay, so update, I'm just going to zoom it, update user set status is equal to true, where ID is equal to 2. And if I select start from user, here you can see this is now true. So if I minimize it and try again, so if I send it, and here you can see this, now we got the token over here. If I move back in over here, and if I go to this one, here you can see this inside load user by username, and we have added one logger inside login. This is at in user service simple, and here you can see this, now a few queries is printed. Okay, so if I move back over here, and here we have the token. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy it, and I'm going to open my Chrome, and if I'm going to paste it, oh not, I'm going to paste it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open the google.com, and here I have to search for JWT.io, and if I go over here, and I'm going to see what exactly this token contains. So if I'm going to paste over here, here you can see this, the subject is the email ID that we have set, tom@gmail.com, and the role is user. This is the expiry time, and this is the issue time. Okay, so if I make any changes inside this one, then this will not work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move back over here, and if we got this token when we do the sign up, sorry, the sign in. Okay, so next thing what we have to do is I'm going to just test one small stuff. I'm going to just stop it and minimize it, and what I'm going to do is just open it, and if I go back over here, that is JWT filter, and I'm going to just remove this one, that is the sign up stuff. Okay, and if I go to over here, and not this one, this one, I'm going to remove this one. Now we haven't bypassed this user slash sign up. So if I start it, what I'm trying to show you is how this JWT work. So here you can see this now that it's up and running on port 8081. So if I move back over here, and here you can see that this is a valid token. Okay, so this is a valid token and it's valid for the 10 hours as I have shown you the calculations. So this token will work fine. So if I move back over here, and here in the body, now we have this Tom and tom@gmail.com. If I try to send it, here you can see this 403 is giving. So if I am going to, now I'm going to add one authentication token. So select this auth and select this one and select bearer token inside this one. I'm going to just remove it and move back over here, and I'm going to paste this new token. So if I paste it over here and try it again, so if I send it, now email already exists. We got the error. It means that now our API is hit. We move to the user service sample. So if I try it with this new, like ajax@gmail.com and ajax, and just send it, and now successfully registered. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small changes in this token. If I move back over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add few characters inside this one. And now again I'm going to copy it and move back into this one to the sign up API. And if I go over here and paste it over here and just send it, and here you can see this is 4034 bit. And if I move back over here and just go to the down, here you will see one exception. The JWT signature doesn't match locally computer signature. That is, if I move back into this one, JWT utils, here we have the signature, that is this btechdays. So this signature got changed whenever we make any changes or we mess up with the JWT token. So this is how this works. So next thing what we have to do is we have to just revert all the changes what we did. So in the filter we have to bypass the user sign up. So I've just reverted it. JWT util, the security config, we have to revert this one also. So now we are good. Now we have successfully bypassed this user login, user sign up, user forget password, and we have implemented and we have seen how this JWT works. So if you have any question, then please let me know in the comment section, and please follow us on Instagram. And in the further videos, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to write all the APIs of this user REST. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share with your friends.